Hello, Colleen.
Hello there.
Back from Florida. I'm so glad an alligator didn't eat you.
No, I actually saw one in the wild. I went to tour Kennedy Space Center, and the place is surrounded by a whole bunch of Florida. So I looked and went, ooh, look, alligator. I said, that's about as close as I want to be. And it was a trip with my daughter. We went down to the theme parks. We on the way down we went to Sun Records and Muscle Shoals Studios. Stopped at did like 14 hours to flop in the ocean at Panama City. But I don't understand the heat.
It's really bad.
I get that there's air conditioning, and I get that like Minnesotans, we don't stay when it's minus 20. We go inside. We're not outside for 14 hours. But there are people that are like us moronic tourists that are at a theme. It was so hot. It was really, really, really hot.
I've been there this time of year.
Yeah, I will never do it again.
Okay.
It was the school's out road trip for my daughter, and she brought a friend, and we had fun. I went bouncing with Tigger. I got a picture with
Sweet.
Had a picture with with Chewie, now because they have, Disney owns.
Oh, Chewbacca?
Yeah, Chewbacca. Got a picture with Star-Lord and little baby Groot and a whole bunch of, Mickey and Minnie and all that sort of stuff. We did the thing, and the girls did Universal. And, and I kept passing by, like, other, grown-up stores, like, on the freeways, but I'm traveling with kids, so I can't, like, pull over and look.
And do investigative research.
But it's still so trucker male oriented. I saw one store in Nash. We were just in Nash. No.
Now, is this an adult store?
The adult store.
Yeah.
No, we were in Chattanooga. We were going to try and see this Ruby Falls, and there's this area that really reminds me of the North Loop in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
All sorts of, newspapers moved in there. 2 warehouses have been turned into office and retail. You can see condos going up all over. I mean, it just screams like Minneapolis North Loop.
Wow.
And I saw a really nice looking, I didn't get a chance to go in, I can't even think the name of it. It was the only non-traditional truck stop looking male thing that I saw on the entire trip. And I did 12 states and 3,700 miles.
Okay.
No, 3,470 miles. And it's still just, I'm fascinated about how male-oriented it still is.
You mean just the highway?
The highway, yeah. I mean, it's going through there. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm going through the South, and they still have really restrictive laws, if at all. I mean, I was fascinated that I saw as many as I did, considering the fact some of these are states that I can't ship to.
Mm.
So there must be these tiny little pockets that have been there since the dawn, And it's just, old gas stations on interstates, it's in a new, cross-section. New bridge opened up, so everybody moved there. So the old gas station is now, and it just, I was like, oh my God, is it like the 70s? So that was it. I didn't get a chance to go in any place, but just from the advertising and from the outward appearance, things have not gone that forward in some of these places.
With regard to adult novelty stores.
Except for like this one place in Chattanooga that I was like, well, that looks interesting. I mean, that looked appealing.
Interesting.
I would want to shop there.
To a woman.
To a woman, yeah.
To a woman. Mm-hmm. Speaking of women, in case you're hearing another giggle, that's Megan is here. Hey,
hello.
Megan.
How's it going?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I mean, do you make it a point just to ask you when you vacation to other states in here on the continental U.S., do you try to check out other stores to see what they're doing?
If I'm not with my kid, I will, I'll pull in.
Yeah.
So just, see if anyone's doing anything that I'm not, doing. I mean, people have been stealing from me for almost 40 years, so I feel like, why not?
Absolutely. No, that's called inspiration, right?
I do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, my boyfriend knows if we're driving around and we pass a porn shop, we're going to stop. I'm like, it's research, baby. We got to go.
Yeah, this is my career. Yeah. Well, welcome back. It's so good to see you. You had some busy travels and all of that good stuff. And right away, before Megan takes off to go do what you do, because what are you called now? Because I think you've got more responsibilities than the last time you were on the show.
Oh, well, I call myself a glorified gopher.
Okay. Okay.
Dildo fairy.
Dildo fairy. I like it.
But, yeah, because I'm just doing the district managing of the 4 locations. Still.
Very cool.
So,
Working well.
Wednesday is a big day. Wednesday is when we get in the van and bring out all the goodies. So, sex toy Santa Claus.
But she also saves my ass on social media.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do a lot. Definitely do a lot.
Yeah, I'll say out there in the world, beautiful post. We were not out at Pride this year. We're tired. There was a lot of stuff going on. We had to take a year off. But as Megan said, Pride is not something we do 1 month or one weekend out of a year. It is, something that Fantasy Gifts has done since we started.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, her words were beautiful. So it's on the Fantasy Gifts site. If you want to see a little post she did, I love it.
Very cool.
But Megan has also spearheaded our prize wheel for like the past 6-8 months. We were raising money for the Red Cross, and so recently I just dropped off over $1,200 to them.
Oh, nice!
And
Congratulations, you guys.
Yeah. So Megan decided, well, let's see what else I can find, and she found.
So I found a great organization actually here in town. It's a local nonprofit, and it's called Support Women, period. And I reached out to them, and we've teamed up. So what we're going to be doing is what we're cheekily calling a flow drive.
Okay.
Where we are going to have drop-off points at each of the 8 Fantasy Gifts locations for feminine hygiene products.
Okay.
And that's what this group does. A lot of, women listening know pads and tampons are flippin' expensive.
They are.
And there are so many women or people in need who cannot afford these products. And so what we're going to be doing is collecting unused, obviously unopened packages of feminine hygiene products. And then at the end of our drive, Support Women, period, will be collecting them all and dispersing them to local food shelves, transitional housing, homeless shelters, just getting these products to women in need. There is a huge need, and it's kind of like sex. It's not something people want to talk about, and you're like, oh, I'm going to donate to the local food shelf. You're bringing a can of beans and some rice. Not too many people are thinking about pads or tampons. So we're hoping that we can help in that area.
Because I don't believe these products are also available when you do have benefits. Some things are.
Right.
But
I'm not sure if
but these are not. And then, of course, they're heavily, besides being expensive, they're taxed. Even though it's a necessity.
That's messed up, isn't it?
It is.
And,
clothes in Minnesota are not taxed, but tampons are. WTF.
Right.
People.
Something I wear outside is not taxed, but something you wear inside is. I'm not quite sure.
It's frustrating. So we're, like I said, I think look for them starting, I believe, probably the first week of July. They might be because I think the bins are being dropped off here at the office.
Yes, we're dropping them off here, and then we're bringing them out to the store. So it was going to run from July 3rd through September 3rd. So we're doing 2 months. We know not a lot of people happen to show up. They're like, I'm going to buy a vibrator, and I happen to have a bunch of pads with me. So, so we know that people will have to see that the word is out there and come back. So we wanted to give plenty of time for people to be able to do this. July 3rd through September 3rd. Big, bright red boxes in the store. Should be hard to miss. And then every package that you drop off, you will be entered, your name will be entered into a drawing. We're going to do gift cards, maybe baskets, something like that. If you drop off 20 packs of pads, your name is in the hat 20 times. So.
Okay. Was there any one particular thing that the organization said is in particularly high demand?
No, they didn't. I think it's pretty all over the board.
Okay.
And I know that's because a lot of women have, they have their own personal preferences and stuff. So they didn't say specifically like pads versus tampons or, I say if you're going to buy one for you, grab another.
Yeah. That is so smart. I mean, I think it's like you said at the beginning of the segment here, Megan, you said like people don't like to talk about this. Quite honestly, I never even thought about that. Mm-hmm. But, we talk all the time about how it's more expensive to be a woman in absolutely every way. And oh my God, that's something that's not hair, that's not nails. That's like, you've got to have this stuff.
A life necessity. We're not going back to,
what rags are being
cotton spun.
I mean, there are places in the world where women are still shunned and put in huts
right.
during their periods.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, especially if folks aren't even aware of what's available, and then it's really frustrating. And I know it's expensive because believe me, my favorite thing in the world is to have a coupon and have Target have the buy three get the $5 gift card too. I mean, I feel like I've won the freaking little sanitary napkin lottery, stuff like that.
So watch for deals is another helpful.
Yeah, I mean, there's two women in our house, so that adds up.
Yeah, sure does.
Let not as much for me. Different products now, but still, it's just like, oh my God.
And it's something even like the dollar store, carries. Products, and so that would be, not to say it's that the dollar store still might be out of reach for some people who are struggling. They don't have a place to live. They don't have money for these, but it could be even another inexpensive option for people to really be able to buy a bunch and make a huge difference in women's lives. So,
nice.
I know I would certainly choose to feed my kids and shove a washcloth in my pants before I did that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what an interesting. Well, thanks for pointing that out and bringing it to the attention. So everybody who's in Minnesota and can swing by a Fantasy Gifts location, is this going to be promoted out there on the social media?
Yes, we are actually. The big thing is I have an event page for it that we're going to publish once the boxes are in the store.
Okay.
To be able to go to the Fantasy Gifts page and look under events.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to get it out as much as I can, share it and stuff. Hashtag Flow Drive if you drop something off and want to tag us.
Okay.
We'll tweet it. We'll
tell
Instagram
your friends
it.
too.
Yeah. I mean, with the social media we have, we'll get it out there and we'll. Hopefully the front page of the main Fantasy Gifts, Facebook page could do that, and we can certainly put the event on the Great Northern Sexcast page too, which is, and then so we'll see something. We can see something positive out there in social media lately because it's been so horrific.
Yeah, it's been making me see red.
Yeah,
it's a positive change of pace.
Very cool. Well, thank you for that, Megan, and we'll definitely look for it. I hope you have an engaging, fabulous day out there in the trenches. Dildo Fairy.
Yes, look for me bringing out the goodies. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
see you, Megan. We'll see you soon. So, there's been, in your absence, even though the show went on, there's been some things that have happened. Did you see the picture of this Australian jeweler's masterpiece of the dildo, the diamond, 2000 diamond and sapphire dildo with the built-in pearl necklace?
I checked my email on an irregular basis while I was gone, just so that I wouldn't come home to just stacks of crap, and stuff like that. But I really didn't do too much because when you're in an area with a couple 100,000 people, even though you have Wi-Fi and they're trying really good, you don't get a lot of, it's hard to get through stuff. So I missed a diamond encrusted dildo here.
Okay. 2,000 diamonds, a collection of royal blue sapphires and rare pink diamonds, all which have been flush set to avoid cuts. So I'm still thinking that those are rocks, and that's a little scary. 1.8 million. So it's the world's most expensive sex toy.
So who did this again? I mean, what was the rationale? I need.
You need context?
I need context. I mean, was it a big PR thing? Was it I'm confused.
He's an Australian jewelry designer. His name's Colin Byrne. And he handcrafted the Pearl Royale, is what it's called. It took him 15 years to make. And his point was to show the value people place on sex. And he goes on to say, people spend a lot of money for Maseratis and things like that. But this is something that's really important to everybody, so he just wanted to make a symbol.
So it took 15 years. So, when he had a couple extra bucks, he bought a few more, got a few more jewels,
Yeah.
like wholesale, and added it to the piece.
Yeah.
Now, I'll have to take a picture of that. I'd love to see. Hopefully there's a picture in there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got the link. I sent it to Megan, and she's really good. So, there are people, a lot of people. He's in the U.S. trying to get somebody that's willing to display this thing. And so far, the only people that have raised their hands are a few Russian jewelers and members of the hip hop community. So we'll see what happens there.
Oh God, I bet it's really pretty.
I bet it is. Yeah. I would make a
Diamonds,
side trip.
huh? I like pink diamonds. Yeah, I mean, I think that.
And sapphire. I mean, it'd be awesome. So, in insertion news, a 55-year-old man went to hospital with bleeding and difficulty going to the bathroom 2 months after getting a pen tip stuck in his penis.
Pen
tip. Yeah. It got so high up, it was pushing into his bladder. I mean, he had to go through a catheter for 2 weeks. It was a sexual gratification thing. And, it was awful. And the fact that he didn't get some ghastly infection that could have killed him is...
Or mutilated him.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, once again, there are proper... I mean, I don't... It's not my thing. One, I don't have a penis, so there's that.
Okay.
But,
you just borrow one.
Yeah. But it's still not a... there are proper sounding and urethral plugs and stuff like that. Like I said, not my thing. But there are stuff that is designed for that. And honestly, I mean, compared to the copays he probably had and all that, a lot less expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. There are, and they mention, as they always do, it's a fetish to put foreign objects in places they shouldn't go, but we take a stand against that and say go buy the more boring but definitely safe.
Yeah, there are plenty of things you can buy that are designed for it that are still foreign objects.
Yeah. So there's an interview with a penoplasty surgeon. I mean, wouldn't you love to talk to one? Seriously, I would. Wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, hell, people talk to doctors all the time, and I'll never forget like the power outage about a zillion years ago when we were kids, and so it was like a week in the winter, and so we were at a hotel, and as soon as my parents found out the guy in the hot tub with him was a foot doctor, my dad shoving his ingrown toenail near him, and I'm like, oh, so I don't care what sort of doctor you are. I mean,
they're highly popular.
They're highly popular. So
that must suck trying to go to a cocktail party.
Oh, I have a friend who's a dentist who just not meant. I mean, okay, we will be places, and I will just say I'm in retail, and he comes up like I think he does some other stuff. One time he was into some brewing. He said he does not mention he's a dentist because everyone is opening up the damn mouths to him.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, this is allegedly a real name. The UK's leading penoplasty surgeon, Robert Roberto Viel.
Okay.
So I'm really glad I'm not Kelly Guest. That would be, yeah. But anyway, Robert Roberto Viel talked about there's two different types of surgeries that are growing in popularity. That was an unintended pun. I mean it. Girth and length surgery.
Well, is the length the removal of some ligaments so that where it's so you can be longer, but it's always going to flop down. It won't be held up. You're going to have to hold it in place. I mean, you can get the length.
Yep.
But that also can that can be dangerous too because you're not going to have the support.
Yeah. Yeah.
But girth,
Yeah, they're saying that they've been able to get 1.4 to 4 centimeters additional in girth through the widening procedure. And it doesn't actually describe it, but they're more than thrilled to tell you about cutting a ligament, which just if you're a guy, I'm crossing my legs right now, and I don't even own a penis. Like, I borrow one too. So it's like, oh my God. But this guy, he said that there's been a surge of 50% annually over the last few years. This is how much more popular it's getting. And this particular doctor has done more than 5,000 procedures himself.
Honestly, if you want someone down there, you want someone that's done it a bunch of times.
Yeah. Germany has the highest rate, ironically. And they said in Germany, 8 in every 100 100,000 adult males have done it.
Well, I'm guessing a lot of, I mean, you also chose places that have national health care and also have medical leave and family leave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to take time off for a surgery knowing that you're not going to lose your job.
That's big.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
If guys here, or, if we were, guaranteed that one wouldn't lose their job, or you didn't have $10,000 in copays or things to recover, and I bet there'd be a lot more here.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Maybe that's how we'll finally get single payer or things covered. Guys will be able to figure, the guys in Congress will figure out that their dicks can get bigger.
That would be an incredibly reasonable motivation, I would think, because they're already huge dicks as it is. So, okay, the headline of the story is there's no such thing as summer vagina. But before we talk about the story, I have to tell you something that actually happened to me. It cracks me up. I found this new Pinot Grigio that I really like. And it's Italian from Italy, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's spelled Vignal. I think it's Vignal, Vignal, something like that. Anyway, it's awesome Pinot Grigio. So I had it in the fridge, and this lady, who's the wife of I'm redoing my kitchen, the cabinet maker stopped by, and she's a retired nurse, and she is as feisty of a human being as I've ever met. The first time I ever met her at her house in his workshop, what's your name and where do you live? I mean, that's how she talks to you. She's just this German spark plug. So I said, would you like a glass of wine? And she said, well, what kind do you have? And I pulled that out and she goes, that looks like it says vagina. And I lose it, right? I'm laughing so hard. I said, well, it doesn't, but it tastes good. Would you like it? And so, but that looks like it says vagina. And the cabinet, not only was her husband there, but my contractor, the drywall tapers, I mean, blurts it out in a room full of men. That looks like a vagina. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, sorry. Just reminded me of
Well, I just think it's fascinating is that I've said this before. I see words. I see the words penis, I see the words vagina, I see the word like booby or I see it more, it's not that word, but when I'm glancing at something, because I see those words all the time.
Yep.
It just, I'm like, that does not, I have to pause for a moment, look again, because I know it's what it does. It's hilarious. It
was so freaking funny. So there's an article out, this one came from Teen Vogue, and
Summer vagina.
Yeah, they're talking about, in the warmer months, people getting more yeast infections, people talking about, it was swimming in a pool and sitting around in a wet bathing suit, different things. And it's a really good article about, basically just watching your pH levels and how wet bathing suits can change it. And they're saying you can use vaginal wipes to keep it clean, but you don't want to overdo those because then you can create another problem. So it's just like people that overuse hand sanitizer and no longer, it doesn't work anymore. So they're saying basically just like every other article that's written by anybody with any experience or integrity, they're basically self-cleaning ovens. Just use water, bathe normally, but don't sit around in soggy bathing suits for too long. Okay?
Because it's too wet and too moist at that point.
Yep.
Plus the fact that if it's chlorinated and all that, you're killing off stuff that's supposed to be good.
Yep.
It's going through there. And, you just want to be able to... I don't like sitting around in a wet bathing suit anyway.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so they're just like, be careful with the wipes and definitely don't go inside. So, because it can cause vulva contact dermatitis. Which doesn't that sound horrible? Anything with an itis and vagina in the same sentence is a bad thing.
No, that's just a bad place to have. I mean, there's a certain swelling that happens in gorge and stuff during sex, but itis means inflamed, and that's that's bad.
Yeah. Okay, so the fact that in today's world, and I travel for work pretty often now, and I hate the whole thing. Really, it's brutal. But with all that we know and all the pains and everything else of getting through security, and that's mostly worldwide, right? I mean, it's one of those things.
I am fascinated by the amount of people, that it's, 2018, so 17 years after people put planes into towers, they still attempt to get through with like full-size bottles of shampoo. I mean, personally, I think it's security theater, but still, how do you not know?
Right.
I have no problems with someone who always carries a penknife or a pocket knife. If you have it with you all the time, you just forget.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. But the stuff that people still attempt to get through security with is fascinating.
Yeah.
Mind.
I got rattled because things got really confusing and there was all these directions and I forgot to set my phone down in the bin. I still had it in my hand because I had just showed my boarding pass and this TSA guy just starts screaming at me. I didn't even realize what was wrong. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and I just, after I got through, I just turned around and I said, you don't have to scream. I'm an adult and I made a mistake. I was confused and, whatever. But it's like the whole thing's miserable. So that said, this plane leaving from Bristol, England, destined for Prague, they had to turn them around because people got so rowdy on the plane in flight. They basically said we had to turn around because they turned it into a nightclub. And it's like,
was it like a charter or was it just a bunch of strangers?
No, it was a whole entire group of passengers, but there was a large party group that knew each other that basically got out of their seats, didn't follow any of the rules and whatever. And so I guess my point is, how much do you think you can get away with? Like, I would vote with nothing, and when it comes to being rowdy or not following directions or whatever, and they grounded that damn plane.
Sit still, don't move. Don't put your. I don't. They got to stop making the seats from even going back. So you're not.
I agree.
With that.
I agree.
And you just you don't talk to anyone. You just get to your space.
Yeah.
Just get to I mean, I'm short, so I don't have a knee problem. But with the seats, that's not a problem. What I have is the fact that my feet don't touch the ground. So it's incredibly uncomfortable for me on a plane, even though I'm a small person, because my feet dangle and they're always numb by the time they're done. I don't know. I practically fall over when I stand up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the curve of the seat is made for someone who's much larger than me. So I'm like in a C shape. I mean, it's just, there is nothing, And so, and I'm like, I am 5'4", a little under that. If I'm uncomfortable, I can't even imagine what a regular size, I'm a little wide, but, I still, and I'm going from side to side on this thing. I fill the thing in. Mm-hmm. What 95% of the rest of the United States citizens are like in a plane, I can't even imagine.
It's the saddest thing ever to see my fiance sitting in a plane seat. He's 6'4", and he just looks miserable. I mean, it's awful. And I mean, I'm 5'7", and it's brutal. I mean, I think it's awful. Well, the thing that I think is really interesting is, and I feel bad for the other people on the plane who had to transfer flights. They were disrupted and whatever. And I'm getting.
You should be able to sue or get your money back from the passengers that fuck up the flight.
Thank you. You took the thought right out of my head.
No, because this was avoidable behavior.
Yes, it was.
I mean, someone has an asthma attack, a heart attack, starts giving birth prematurely, dies. They have no control over that.
Yeah.
You're an asshole, and that plane turns around. Mm-hmm. I say, someone needs to take out, and then after a while, you just become uninsurable and you don't get to fly.
Yeah. I think that's genius, Colleen. I'm with you. So this is, I should have sprung this on Megan while she was still here. The weekly cyborg sex story, sex robots. Every week there's something now. I mean, literally. I mean, back in, when we first started the show, periodically, but now they're they're mainstreaming the bad boys. $15,000 sex dolls we're talking about here, people. We're not talking about inflatables, okay? So this particular story is a doctor saying, don't think that the STD crisis is going to be eliminated by sex robots. And because the industry is promoting that as one of the things, you won't get STIs, you won't get da-da-da-da-da. And doctors saying, look, it's not going to get rid of prostitution. People are still going to be people. And quite honestly, if you don't clean the dolls, there could be an issue there too.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, it's not as though, the idea of sharing a doll is grossing me out right now. I mean, I don't care if it's $15,000 or then again, those brothels, I know.
It's
bodily fluids, and they're hard to clean. Yeah, I mean, like when we travel, like this bedspreads and everything gets. I travel with wipes and phones and remote controls and stuff just get wiped out the minute I'm in the room.
What do you do about the bedding, though? Do you?
Well, the bedspread just tossed in a corner. The rest of the bedding is fine. I can see that. I check it, make sure it's going through there. But it's But I mean, I'm generally trying to stay in like a Holiday Inn Express or someplace where I know exactly what I'm going into. The one time we had to stay at a hotel that I couldn't believe how difficult it was to find a room. They didn't have the air conditioning cranked up, so it's musty when you go in there.
Yep.
And there was a bug in the room, but it wasn't a bed bug or anything like that. It just you're in the South. They're just there's bugs, and so the girls were a little freaked out. I was out, but I could see that the bathroom was clean. I could see that they had dusted behind the TV. I mean, there were little things that you see, like when you have a if you open up if you look at the nightstand and there's an opening on the bottom and there's no dust there, they're cleaning. I mean,
Yep.
And so it was fine. As soon as the air conditioning went up down a couple of degrees, the room, it's a South. If you don't crank the air, it's musty smelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any difference. The girl, yeah, but there was it's just it's like ooh, but clean, just a sharing of it all. I mean, I don't. Ugh.
I know.
Other people, just,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It's disgusting. We're going to post this online. It's a story about a Reddit thread of not people that engaged in the Mile High Club, but people that...
Witnessing?
Yes. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Oh,
and
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Because it's just so gross.
And brazen.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one guy says... I had a guy next to me join the Mile High Club solo an hour into 13-hour flight. I was going to take a...
So he puts a blanket... So the guy's jerking off in the seat next to him?
Yeah. And he goes, I was going to take a sleeping pill, but I stayed bug-eyed awake the whole time. The worst part is he used the arm closest to me. Oh! And there's other ones that are super funny.
Oh, honestly... I have flown a fair amount, probably more than a lot of folks, and I haven't. I've been very, very lucky. I have not witnessed too many, awful things. I was fascinated on one of my last trips at this one guy traveling with his family. I looked over, and as far as I counted, at least 5 gin and tonics, and there could have been more.
I'm surprised they'd serve that many. Actually,
and it was just fascinating. I'm like, really? And, but it was fascinating. So I've never seen anyone, never had anyone call for a doctor, never had anyone be, truly, obnoxious. It's been an occasional foot up on the rest, but then, someone's been kind of saying, move it, and stuff like that. I once had one small child kid, but nothing that would make a plane turn around or, there's someone next to me with a sauerkraut sandwich or anything. I mean, I figure I was probably been saved by the fact that I got on the one airline flight and the seat was covered in puke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had
You're
that.
good for a while.
I had that. I mean, honestly, my standards for flying now. I mean, as long as the seat is not covered in puke.
You're okay.
Yeah, that seems to be the bar that, it's going through there. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a good thread to read. It's pretty funny. We'll post it for everybody. But that poor dude with the guy jerking off next to him and had to deal with it for 9 more hours sitting next to him is pretty funny. So, okay, there's so many questions about this next story. I think a lot of people would like to know what a day in the life of a stripper's like. That's kind of, not unusual. But where they got these insights is there's a new app out there called Whisper, and it is supposedly an app that allows you to discreetly share your inner thoughts with the world. I wouldn't use that for fear of hacking. Mm-hmm. Like an app, I'm going to say...
I'm sorry, but there's
no.
If you're on there, it's going to identify you somehow.
Yeah.
But didn't Diablo Cody, she wrote her first novel or book or movie or something, she was a adult performer, a stripper here in the Twin Cities. Now she's an Oscar-winning playwright or something like, movie, right? Screenwriter. Oh my God. I click. Eventually my brain
Yep.
will come up with the right word.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of books out there. The things with paper and
Yeah.
put things to ends. And
I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there's some stripper insights, and one of them reinforces one of your things that you say all the time, which is that sex work is work. And one of the gals said, when I tell people I'm a stripper, they automatically assume I'll do dances and things for free. No. And another one says, I don't tell people what I do, but everybody's always asking where I get my money. And then another one confesses, I got a job as a stripper and I love it, but I can't tell my boyfriend because he thinks I'm a bartender. That's a great foundation for a long-lasting relationship. Okay. There's a guy who used to be a TV journalist. Actually, she used to be one. And she got, kind of bored. And I gotta be honest with you, broadcasting seems really glamorous, but it's really hard work.
No.
Long hours. It's brutal. And so she said, fuck it. And now she runs a swinging, domination, and rope bondage website. Good for her.
Well, I certainly hope if she's got the bondage and domination that they've, got information on how that actually works. Not just the titillation pictures and stuff like that. Because when you're talking about a dom and a sub, I mean, the person that actually controls that is the sub. Mm-hmm. There's, the safe word to talk what you want and stuff like that. It's not, it's really a partnership.
Yeah.
Even though it's dom and a sub, there's a lot of stuff in there. We actually sell several books on that, on that subject. So if you're curious about it, it's not just one person sort of making the decision. It's the couple, the people that are involved. It's a whole conversation before you even get there.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting? Her name is Bracken Gellier. So you can Google her, Bracken, and then the last name is Jelier. So Bracken Gellier. And she got the idea because it's kind of like fantasy gifts. So she said women had a lot of things that they were curious about, wanted to explore, whatever, but they didn't like the smutty sites. So hers is more of a classy, woman-friendly site, which is smart.
Yeah. It's my dad figured that a long time ago.
Which is really smart. I love it.
Yeah, he did not know anything about the industry when he just sort of fell into it.
Yeah. So if you've ever worried about long pendulous breasts happening to you later in life, saggy boobs, otherwise, we've got an article that talks about all the things that could help or that could contribute to the sagging of the boobs.
Well, other than children?
Yes.
Okay, because one of the things is that gravity, what the hell am I? Going to be 53. It was only about, if I think about it, only a few years ago that gravity finally found the boobs. I mean, the extra weight gave them some, extra, and then not have ever breastfed, anything like that. I mean, they stayed perky for a long time.
Good for you.
And they're still doing pretty damn good.
Good.
I would not wear a bra if clothing, was a little bit, wasn't, did a lot better.
Yeah.
And then covering up nipples. But I'm like, oh, I got a great rack at 53. Woo.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Awesome boobies.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just hit a couple highlights, and we'll post the article, of course, on the Fantasy Gifts Facebook, the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook
Well, sometimes
page.
they go to both.
Do they? Okay,
Yeah.
good. I didn't.
If it's really good, great. Let's share that.
Good for her. Okay, awesome. Sleeping on your front, they said, can break your tissue down. Crash diets can mess up your body chemistry, and I thought that was really interesting. Wearing a bra 24/7. It takes the work off of the surrounding tissue.
Yeah, I know some folks though that are so huge they have no choice, but then again, there's going to be sagging what's going through there. They're just much more comfortable with going through there.
Yeah. Smoking. can also do it.
Well, that's going to decrease blood flow and break down tissues.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what smoking does.
Yeah.
So it's going to mess with your skin. It's going to mess with the rest of your body. It's certainly going to mess with your boobs.
Yep. So there's many more. You can kind of check that out. Oddly, speaking of boobs, one of the people on my that I work with, she's a fraternal twin, and she's got a sister, and it never ceases to fascinate the hell out of me. You know, they came from the same batch, and they're completely different. One's 5...
Different egg, different... different sperm. Fraternal, they do not split. So,
Yeah. One sister, the one I work with, is 5'6", and the other one's 5 foot. The 5'6" has, very average-sized breasts, if not small. The 5-footer has double E's, the poor little kid, which I think is a really cruel genetic thing to have happen, be that tiny and have that big of a rack to manage.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if I was gonna get boobs or not.
Oh, really?
And I felt like, yeah, and because my mom was not really blessed with the large rack, and I'm just going through there, and I have no idea what my and it took me forever. I mean, honestly, I did not get this rack till my 30s. I mean, I was a late bloomer.
Good Lord.
And even though, even at Renaissance festivals, I didn't even bother trying to shove up what I had. What was the point? I just wore, it wasn't until. And then when I finally wore a costume that shoved them up, I'm like, oh my God, how do people do this? I spent so many decades just sort of them not being there, and then suddenly, hey, boobs! And I'm like, I'm used to them now, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me a while, but I got used to them.
Yeah. Well, no, that's 30s. Wow, I never knew.
Yeah, no, they were pretty average, and then suddenly, and this is even before the weight gain. Suddenly, I'm like, hey, boobs.
My sister actually was kind of similar. Now that I think about that.
Yeah.
Just an interesting note: the main accuser for Bill Cosby, Andrea Constand, did a Dateline interview. Did you catch it?
No, I've had a difficult time with. It's out there. It's important that she's heard, but I'm like, my brain is filled with awful stuff. I mean, it's just, and I, sort of like, just, there's only so much. I mean, sometimes I can look at it, I can click on an article, and sometimes I just can't.
Yeah. Well, here's a bright spot for you.
Bright spot.
One of the things that she said is she's decided to choose forgiveness, which I don't know that I could do in her particular ordeal and everything and the long road and whatever. But she's choosing that.
What she needs. That's how she's wired. That's how her brain works. That doesn't mean that she forgets. That doesn't mean that she needs to be consequences. It means that for her, she's not going to let it control her anymore. That's what she's doing for her, and that's what's spectacular about it.
And good for her. I was just, like I said, a teeny bright spot in a truly god-awful story.
Yeah,
and further evidence that dick pics are rarely a good idea.
Okay. Unless, of course, it's a faux $1.7 million jewel dick.
That would be a great dick pic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. There's a case happening over in the UK, 2 cops, and they're both in trouble. The one woman says, hey, my colleague sent me a naked dick pic sitting in his recliner at home, and she's claiming sexual harassment, and then he threw a bunch of mud back at her. So now they're both on leave. I'm sure the dick pic happened, but the circumstances under which and why it did have gotten both of their careers in trouble. So if you're going to do genitalia media, maybe don't engage in it with coworkers and don't resort to telling on each other to the boss. It just doesn't end well, people.
Yeah,
it's never smart. Agree?
No, just stop with the naked pictures, especially if you're underage, because even if you're both 16 years old, you could be charged in some places with being a sexual predator the rest of your life. Just don't. It's. I know that you get pressured. I know it's going through there, but saying no, being in control of your own body that's what's important. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's you are not responsible, honestly, for the other person's happiness. Your body is yours. You do not owe anyone anything.
Yep.
Yep.
So another case, on a dare in a bar out with a bunch of guys.
Here, hold my beer. Yep. Okay. I'm sure they'll
Grabs
send.
the bar manager's ass when she came over to collect the tab because they said, "Hey, grab her ass." So they did. He's now on trial for
Sexual assault?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No grabby the humans. Unless there's consent.
Shit's going to court,
Yeah.
people.
Good.
Just saying. And this just... I just don't even know what to say about this, so I'm going to tell you and see what you say.
Okay.
Woody Allen, quote, "I should be the poster boy for Me Too." But guess how he means it. He said, "I've worked in the movie industry for 50 years. I've worked with hundreds of actresses, and not a single one, big ones, famous ones starting out, have ever suggested any kind of impropriety. I've always had a wonderful record with them." Thoughts? I just couldn't wait to volley this over to you.
Oh my. You know, so he didn't hit on his coworkers or his actresses,
He married his stepdaughter.
but his personal life is pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and we don't, yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously he kept his work life and his personal life separate, which just
Good start.
which is good start.
Yeah.
But his personal life is a little creepy.
I just don't think I would have kicked that
No.
snake if I were him.
No.
If I'm Woody Allen, I just think I'll just stay quiet.
And I don't, and like I said, the folks that have worked with him, some have distanced themselves, some haven't. That's going through there, I can watch some of his movies now, but not all of them.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, it's just, but he's not, he's not an angel here.
No.
No. Mm-mm.
No. So on that note, Colleen, I am so glad you're back. I am just glad to see you.
It was, thank you. It was a lovely trip, but I will.
Do you need to relax from your vacation?
Yeah, see, it was not a vacation.
Oh,
it
it
was
was
a
a
trip.
road trip.
These are different things.
Okay.
And this was, there was no sleeping in. There was getting your ass. There was moving. I mean, it took me hours of work, days of work beforehand, months beforehand, because you just do not do Disney on a whim.
No.
This shit is planned out. From your fast passes to your meals to everything. There was no. You do not wing Disney.
A word to the wise.